Hi, I'm Jamie Davis, the Pod Medic here from Innovations in Patient Care, and we want to thank all of you for checking out this episode. We are here at EMS Today 2014, and I get to introduce and innovate with all of the best of the EMS 10 innovators. And one of the things that I like best about coming to EMS Today is that I get to do these interviews with the EMS 10 innovators. I have Dr. Kevin Seaman from Howard County, Maryland, right just not too far from where I am, and I'm excited, Kevin, for having you here. You want to tell everybody a little bit about your background and share with me who you are?
Thanks for having me, Jamie. I really appreciate it. I'm the medical director for Howard County Fire and Rescue, and we're a combination fire department. Howard County is between Baltimore and Washington, 252 square miles, kind of suburban, rural. We've got about 435 professional firefighters. We've got a ton of volunteers, I think maybe up to 200 operational volunteers, 12 stations right now, and I think kind of like you all, we're kind of small enough to innovate, but we're growing bigger, and it's a little bit of a challenge, but I think we're trying to do some good things.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I want to congratulate you on your EMS 10 award. That's quite an honor, and I really think that it was well-deserved for the work you're doing with the Resuscitation Academy and bringing it to the East Coast.
Well, thank you. I think I'm modest, so I don't necessarily go for that too much, but I'm really jazzed about, we had a conference one-day RA. We had 130-some people that we taught sort of a train-the-trainer, high-performance CPR, take it back to your organization. It really went really well. It was a partnership with Seattle Fire, and we had Dr. Mickey Eisenberg and their staff out here, and I think everybody was in agreement. I think it just came together well. It was a good session, and people really enjoyed it. So I think I'm really jazzed about that.
Well, and I heard from several people that what they took away most from it was the fact that they had to change the way they were thinking about cardiac arrest.
Sure.
And one of the early statements that you made right from the stage was everyone survives.
Yeah.
And you know that's kind of completely different from what some people's experiences are with cardiac arrest.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. So I think that there's a number of really neat things that come about with this, and one of them is, now you have to qualify it a little bit. So I think witnessed arrest and VFib, a shockable rhythm, our goal is to get everybody to survive, and I think that's doable. In Howard County, with the last full year set of data we have, our number with that is like 64%. So that's not 100%, but we're inching up, and we're trying to make that more, and I think that's a doable thing. The other real message is really empowering the EMTs, saying EMTs own CPR. I mean, that's a really important message, and I think that's we're spreading it slowly but surely, but kind of cultural change takes some time, so I think we're making some efforts, though, and making some inroads.
Well, I was very honored to be able to attend one of the first Resuscitation Academies here on the East Coast, and thank you again for inviting me and thinking of me for that.
We're glad to have you. Yeah.
But it was really game-changing. I don't know any other way to put it. I mean, because it really, and I think you probably had a similar experience going out to Seattle when you went out and went to the Resuscitation Academy.
Yeah.
But it really does kind of completely shift your thought process on how you approach cardiac arrest.
Yeah. Well, and you did a great job. I think you really helped us spread that message on social media, and it's a simple message. It's not hard, it's not hard to do, but I think the challenge is to change your mind, open your mind to something new, and really embrace something new. And I think when you do that, I love Dr. Eisenberg because he's got these mantras, just simple sayings that really encapsulate what the change is about, what you need to do, and then I think the messages are pretty clear and pretty direct, and it's just a question of how do you empower change in your organization, I think, is the real challenge, and it's not impossible. It's not as hard as people think it is, I don't think, but you have to find a way to get there.
Well, and I think one of the things I've always heard is it has to be a champion in the system, somebody who's really going to get behind it, and it can be somebody at any level, really. In leadership, even somebody relatively low on the leadership totem pole.
Sure. Well, I think you're absolutely right, and I would just point out, for us, it's a huge team, and in our sense, we sent 3 people to the RA initially, and that took the support of our fire chief Bill Goddard and our county executive Ken Ullman to say, yeah, we see the benefit. We want to model best practices, and if that's where it is, you go and learn it. And I think that was the start. If we didn't have that support, it never would have happened. And then I think you're right. Then it takes, what we asked for at the RA is at least 2 people a team, because you know, this conference has been really great so far. I probably have 8 or 10 great ideas, and I think sometimes you get overwhelmed with so many, and you go back and people weren't here with you, and they're not as excited as you, and enthusiasm kind of sort of oozes away, I guess. I'm not sure the right term, but, you can't keep up the enthusiasm, basically, and I think so it really helps to have a team, and I think, so we say 2 or more people in these roles where they can help implement change, you know, whether it's administrative that's needed, whether it's budget that's needed, whether it's oversight, or whether it's you know, I think one of our big wins was to give this technique to the field and say to the field providers, look, you guys do it every day, make it your own, and let us know, you know, what do you need to change to make it work for you? You know, this isn't Seattle. You know, they do a great job. They have envious performance. We'd love to be Seattle, but I think we're not Seattle. So how can you guys make this, guys and gals, make this your own, and by doing that, you know, succeed at it? And I think they did that. So that's really kind of neat.
So what's next for Howard County and the Resuscitation Academy? I mean, you're obviously spreading the word, making it more of a regional academy, not just Maryland-based, but
sure.
You know, you've got a lot of things, a lot of irons in the fire right now.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an exciting time. So at this RA, what the group from Seattle did, and we worked collaboratively, but they now have high-quality, professionally produced videos that demonstrate the actions you need to take. So I think that's wonderful, so that Dr. Eisenberg's goal is to standardize, and I think that makes a lot of sense. So we have standard videos that will, I think, shortly be on their RA website that we will also link to and use, and I think anybody can link to and use them. So I think that's one thing you'll see is standardized instructions. We have standardized videos and a standardized instructor guide in terms of teaching the techniques of high-performance CPR. So that's one thing that we will model. So I think from the time that you attended, we do still have a 2-day RA that will be at the end of May 29th and May 30th of 2014, but we added a 1-day high-performance CPR and dispatch telephone CPR session at the end of September, and we intend to continue that. And the idea there is more, those are more the people in the process, teaching them how to do high-performance CPR, how to teach it, teaching the dispatchers how do you most effectively, most quickly give effective CPR instructions and get the caller, the bystander, to do CPR. So it's kind of a how-to, a much more of an action-oriented, 1-day kind of a thing. So I think you'll see that as well. The group in Seattle is working on a virtual Resuscitation Academy, which would be like I understand from Dr. Eisenberg and Ann Dahl, that it would be like a 9-segment type of course you would take.
Okay.
You'd listen to it. I'm not quite sure, but knowing the way that they work, probably you'd take one module and have to answer some questions or do something to show your comprehension, but that may be available. That's kind of neat, because I know that we've had great success. I think we've had more than 120 people through our RA, and they've obviously, Seattle's had a 10-year, RA for 5 years, but some people can't make it, you know. So I think where you can do it distance learning, where you can do it at your own pace, I think is a great thing. So I think that's also coming. So some really neat things coming in the next year, I would say.
Fantastic. One last question.
Sure.
Why do you think it's important for us to have awards like the EMS 10 Innovator Awards and recognize our leaders and our innovators here in the EMS field?
Well, I think a couple reasons. I mean, I see myself receiving this as representing all of our providers, honestly. So it's not a, it's not a my award or award for me. I think it's a recognition of our system and what all our providers do, and it takes a team to kind of get that. So I think that's one thing, is that recognition on a public stage for all of our providers and their efforts. I think the other thing is that it gives us maybe a little bit more of a voice, so that my chief, Bill Goddard, says it well. We do a lot of great things. Sometimes it's hard to get the message out. I don't think we were as well known a few years ago as we are now, and I think I like the Spider-Man saying, "With great power there comes great responsibility," and I think the idea here is, now that we've learned ways to make it work, we need to share those, and I think the stage allows us to share that a little bit more effectively, I think. That would be my answer, I guess.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I think there's no wrong answer to it, and I completely agree with you. I think it's important for us to share these ideas and be able to get the word out about what works for one system may well work, or a portion of it work for another system.
Sure.
And by doing that, we raise the bar for all of us and improve patient care all the way through the system.
Yeah, and we've seen, I think, people that attend are just jazzed, and they, I see people and they say, hey, we had a save the other day. I mean, it really empowers, I think, our providers. It's really great. So I think that's wonderful.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. Well, Kevin, congratulations again.
Thanks so much for your time.
Appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
And I want to thank all of you for checking out another segment here at Innovations in Patient Care. Remember to check out all of the EMS 10 Innovator interviews that we'll be doing here. You can find them here at the Innovations Podcast, and that's available for you at mediccast.com/innovations. I'm Jamie Davis, the Pod Medic. I want to remind all of you, as always, to remember to stay safe and stay tuned here to Innovations in Patient Care.